Whew! It's another part of the favorite games project done! Boom! Now, I can work on the next part without any distractions and... Oh no!
Make way for GOG. Make way for GOG.
Ah, hell. I swear, I don't plan for this stuff. The Favorite Games project is moving right along, and I'm trying to stay focused. But when GOG makes good on their name and actually re-releases some good old games, I just can't resist talking about them. It's instinctual at this point. Up on the plate are 3 16-bit Disney games: Aladdin, The Lion King, and The Jungle Book. I suppose it was inevitable given their track record with LucasArts' old catalog, but I wasn't expecting it. Or at least, I wasn't aware that those games were even on DOS. They've always been Genesis games in my eyes. Now, speaking of LucasArts, they were a brand that I grew up with. My life has been peppered with games like Rogue Squadron and TIE Fighter and Battlefront 2, but Disney games in general, not so much. I mean, I guess Star Wars games are now technically Disney games, but you know what I'm talking about. I didn't grow up with these. The most experience I've had with these games were watching the Game Grumps play them. I know that a lot of people praise these, but I don't really have the same nostalgia for them that something like, say, TIE Fighter has. The one Disney game I did grow up with was the Toy Story 2 game on N64, and yeah, not the best first impression, is it? And games like DuckTales I sort more with Capcom than Disney, although I wouldn't mind seeing DuckTales remastered on GOG. But anyway, I'm getting off track. We have a new batch of GOG re-releases, and I'ma do what a DQP does best and crack these games wide open. No rosy nostalgia goggles, just pure judgment. Let's begin with the biggest one, Aladdin. I realize that Lion King is the best-selling of the three as of writing, but I always thought Aladdin was the better movie, and it's my video, so ha. It's worth noting that there were actually 2 Aladdin games. This one, developed by Virgin, and the SNES version, developed by Capcom. The first thing you'll notice when you look at the 2 side by side is, whoa, the GOG version looks hella good. It looks like the movie, and with the DOS version especially, it sounds like the movie. Just listen to the title screen. That's pretty damn good for 1993. This game feels incredibly authentic. It's like what Star Wars Battlefront was last year. It's an audiovisual treat that feels like the real, genuine, interactive Aladdin experience. Just look at the way Aladdin jumps off camels, or how soldiers threaten you, or how people throw pots down at you. Look at the way the genie starts getting genuinely concerned when your health gets low. It's a game with real personality. And like Star Wars Battlefront last year, it's kinda average in the gameplay department. But hey, don't worry, it at least has more content and doesn't cost $60 in a season pass. Aladdin is pretty sluggish in this version. It's hard to tell where his sword hits. Apples never seem to fly where you want them to. The level design is really weird and maze-like, and it funnels you into traps that you'd think would be banished to the Cat Mario realm by now. Compare that to the SNES version, where Aladdin jumps and leaps off of poles and guards that can float to the ground. It feels more like you're playing an actual nimble Arabian thief and less like a dude with a sword. It lacks the kind of fun character you see in the DOS version, but it's still a very good game. Also, the frame rate in the DOS version is kinda off, but I think that might just be a DOSBox thing. I mean, I shouldn't knock Virgin's work, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. The game looks and sounds really good, and I can't say the gameplay is too offensive. But next to the SNES version, there's really no contest, let's be honest. And I should also say, it's hard. Like, really, really hard. I wound up moving slowly, step by step, and at that point, I may as well have just been playing Dark Souls. Frame rates, mishaps, Kaizo death traps. I could nitpick all but it's not a bad game, no siree. It's just not the perfect game for me. Okay, enough talk about Aladdin. Let's talk about Lion King next. I can't tell if I like this more than the Aladdin game. It suffers from a lot of the same problems, like poor performance and strange maze-like levels. To be fair though, it does control a fair bit better, and you can actually see when you hit something. It's a lot smoother than the Aladdin game. And of course, it still looks and sounds fantastic. You can tell they put a lot of effort into making it look and sound just like the movie. The audio and, cutscenes?
It starts.
Yeah, we'll go with cutscenes, whatever. I'm sure they were mind-blowing for the time. I realized this was a point in gaming history where having your game actually talk to you was pretty incredible, so it's nice to see Lion King on the cutting edge. And all of this would be high praise if I could beat the second level. But I can't. I spent a whole day on an endless loop playing through the first 2 levels trying to figure out how the hell this second level works. It's like the Bramble Maze level from Diddy's Conquest, but not nearly as entertaining to figure out. And how am I drowning in this water? Look at that hippo! He's standing right there! That's super shallow. You do not drown in a pool that shallow unless you're really trying to. And how is this a second level? I understand that this song is early in the movie, but in-game it's such a ridiculous difficulty spike that I don't even know how it could have gotten past testing. In fact, there's a video out there from Double Fine where they brought on a developer from the game, and even he apologized for it.
And so anyways, that's why this level is so hard. Apologies to all the people who ever pulled out their hair on this, including myself. But the reason we had to do it was because the rental market was, people would rent a game, and if they got a certain distance in the game, the metrics from Disney said they wouldn't buy the game. I don't know if it's actually true. I think the quality of the game would have carried them all the way through. But
at least I was able to get a solid ways through Aladdin before biting the dust, but Lion King's second level is just too much. It's insane, it's obtuse, and just about impossible without the help of a walkthrough. So out of respect for every kid who couldn't beat this level in the 90s, this is where I'm stopping. I just can't beat this difficult level. Inexcusable, even back then. Just how were they so dense? This makes no design sense. It's totally futile. This level is brutal. It looks good and sounds good more than a DOS game should, and it plays better than you would think. But with a spike so obtuse, I declare, it's not fair. And it's a shame cause the game has some flair. It's not fair. Calm down, DQP. This video's not over yet. We still have one more game to go through. And that game is Jungle Book? Like, really? Jungle Book? They made a game out of that? I mean, I understand Aladdin and Lion King. Those came out in the 90s along with the films, but Jungle Book? Really? Oh, okay. You know what? Fine. Many of the best licensed games came out long after their properties hit theaters. Just look at GoldenEye, Alien Isolation, and we've already covered a myriad of Star Wars games that weren't necessarily tying into anything. If those games can prove anything, it's that you don't need to wait until the big thing to make something incredible with a good license. So let's see if Virgin's Jungle Book is a good example. Whoa. It actually is. Wow. I think it might be the best game here. Moving and attacking enemies is intuitive and fun. It looks great like the other games here. The levels are mostly good, and it has interesting design. It's technically a 2D collectathon game. It's not like you can just go from point A to point B. Well, maybe if you're really good at collecting gems, it is, but whatever. It uses the maze-like design of these kinds of virgin levels and forces the player to actually explore them and find things. And that's a better use of the design than Aladdin or Lion King. And hey, there's no monkey puzzle. That's a plus. But there are a few things that are pretty weird. First off, the soundtrack is really strange, especially with this DOS release. It sounds like the soundtrack from the new Doom. Take a listen.
Ow. Wow.
Second, the levels are sometimes kind of deceptive. Like, look at this cliff here. You'd think this jump leads somewhere because there's an item off of it, but no, it leads to death. It was only later that I realized that those items were meant for a different route, and I feel that the developers could have communicated the routes more efficiently. And third, what is this death screen? Monkeys and hospital uniforms? What is that? I mean, Lion King didn't really pull off that kind of stunt, and with Aladdin, it was understandable. That's the kind of movie Aladdin was. But this is just silly. The Jungle Book is a really funny movie, but it doesn't really rely on this kind of humor. It's really strange and out of place. Those are just nitpicks, though. I mean, I just sang about how I could spend all day focusing on this stuff. Truth be told, I'm having a lot of fun with this game. Kinda makes me want to spend more time with it. Huh?
Till it's done, you must go work on your project till the day that it is done.
Oh, fine. I'll keep working on the project. These things take time, you know? And a distraction is nice every once in a while, but we'll see if any other distractions come up in the year. If we do, I'll see you then, and if not, well, I'll keep you posted. See you around.